On today's episode of Locked On Canucks, my oh my, what a game that was last night. Let's take a look back at probably the wildest Canucks game I could remember in forever. It is Locked On Canucks, and it starts now.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. I'm, of course, your host, Justin Pooney. You can find me on Twitter at Justin Pooney with an underscore at the end. That's at Justin Pooney with an underscore at the end. Please also follow me on Instagram at Process Sports with an underscore at the end. That's Process Sports with an underscore at the end. Also, I want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast services. Guys, what a day it was last night. Canucks win 7-6. And, excuse me, I almost sneezed there, and I had to sneeze, but it didn't come up. But anyway, Canucks last night, let's rewind. As I said yesterday, a game they should win against the Montreal Canadiens, a team that they are, quite frankly, better than. Montreal's a rebuilding team, and the Canucks should win. Well, they didn't start off like that. That game was very, very. If you talk about one end of the emotional spectrum to another end, that's kind of what this game was. Starts off, I'm here, turn the game on, get ready to watch. I turn off Monday Night Football because I thought that game was over too. I thought Monday Night Football was over because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were down, and I was like, you know what, this game is done. And I turn the Canucks game on, and what happens? The Canucks go down 4-0 in the first period. And when I say I was mad, that's kind of an understatement. I was pissed. Absolutely pissed because once again, the Vancouver Canucks got off to a horrible start. There was no effort. There was no passion. There was no desire. The Canucks came out flat. Spencer Martin got pulled. And then I wondered, what the hell are these guys doing? Right? What on earth? Is there no, in a pro Montreal crowd, the building was packed. There's the energy was there, and these guys came out so flat. And then, you get to intermission, everybody's tweeting, going wild on Twitter, like, oh my God, the sky's falling, and trade everybody. And hey, I gotta be the first one to admit, if you look at my Twitter, I tweeted out, this is the realization that the Canucks have to fire Bruce Boudreau. Bruce Boudreau is going to get fired after tonight. I see on the TSN broadcast, Frank Corrado, former Canuck, talking about what the previous regime was like, the regime before that, the Mike Gillis era, where being a Canuck under Alain Vigneault and Mike Gillis, there was a sense of pride built into it. And the Canucks don't have any pride, don't play with any pride. And then what happened? They start mounting a comeback. And I'm like, all right, they're making it kind of close, whatever. It becomes 4-2, then 4-3, then 4-4. And I'm like, oh, shit, where was this earlier in the game, right? And I still in the back of my head thought, they're gonna choke it and it's not gonna happen. Well, then what happens? They take the lead. Then I'm like, holy cow, this was 4-0. The Canucks came all scored 5 unanswered goals. And then I'm like, okay, game over. Montreal's gonna fold like a cheap 10. And to Montreal's credit, they scored 2 goals and the Canucks are losing. And then again, it's all back to the other end of the spectrum where I was like, holy again, this team came out flat. This team has no spine, no nothing. They don't know how to play. Now, the one goal where the faceoff should have been in the neutral zone, not in the Canucks end, which ended up being the goal score. Bruce Boudreau was not happy about that. Regardless of that, the Canucks still put themselves in that position where they were down. And then to score in the final minute of the game on the power play, Andrei Kuzmenko. And I was like, wow. Again, it's just so. Be a Canucks fan is such a mind, you know what. And, as I was scrolling through Twitter and everything like that, it was absolutely crazy to me that, the Canucks, I went from frustrated and pissed off to to excited to, oh, here they go again, another blown lead. Then they go to overtime, and Elias Pettersson takes the puck from Mike Matheson, who everybody was talking about revenge and all of that, which it was, but Matheson did blow a tire, so it's not really. And of course, Mike Matheson was the one who hit Elias Pettersson back in Florida a couple of years ago, got suspended for it, and then Pettersson talked about post game how it didn't mean anything, but it kind of did. This game was wild, was crazy, was absolutely had every emotion. Now, when I look at it, there was very bad, there was very good, and then they won. So they end up getting 2 points, they're 3 points out of a playoff spot. And when I look at it, right, I don't know if this is a positive or this is just another negative in the feather cap. I think this is something that, how do I put it into words? Like, I'm trying to find an analogy for the Canucks, but quite frankly, there is no analogy for the Vancouver Canucks. Anything they do or they continue to do will always shock and surprise you. Like, for example, that game. They're now 11, 12, and 3. When I look at that, Colin Delia, made 15 saves. Came for Spencer Martin, who did not look good. Yeah, he did not look good, but that's expected because, Caulfield scored, Suzuki scored, Monahan, and then Pizzetta, bang, 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 4 goals. And then you pull them, you bring in, Connor, what's his name, Colin Delia, and then, they scored 2 goals in the second, but I still kind of thought it was over. And then you see, JT Miller, Bo Horvat, Ilya Mikheyev again, Jason Studnicka, and then, of course, Kuzmenko. I just wanted to go over the game and kind of give you a thing before I dive into where I think this game meant. Because quite frankly, to me, this game is more of an indication of just how bad this team or how flawed this dressing room is, right? It was a wild game, crazy game, something I've never seen before. And after the game, I tweeted out, could this be the moment where the Canucks season turns around? Could this be the galvanizing moment? Because you don't see the blown 4-goal leads, a whole lot in the NHL. Is this the moment where the Canucks kind of turn it all around and their season goes on a run? They go on a run from this. Could this be it? I went to sleep thinking that. And after this break, I'm going to come in and explain my thoughts further on that and tell you whether I believe in it or it's completely fabricated and I was absolutely caught as a prisoner in the moment. But first, I want to talk to you guys about Simply Safe. If you've thought about securing your home with home security but haven't putting it off, you'll want to listen up. Right now, Locked On Canucks listeners can order the #1 rated Simply Safe home security system for 50% off. This is their biggest offer of the year, and you won't want to miss it. Here's why I love it. Did you know that over the holidays, property crimes like burglaries and package thefts spike nationally? That's why our friends at Simply Safe Home Security are offering 50% off their award-winning security system so that more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. Order your Simply Safe system for half off today and enjoy advanced security, greater peace of mind this holiday season. Here's why I love it. As you guys know, I split my time between Vancouver and Toronto, and I want to make sure my home in Toronto is safe. And that is, I feel safe with Simply Safe technology, their controlling system off my phone, the clear HD live stream of the security cameras, the high-tech sensors, all of that stuff. And also 24/7 monitoring with an agent and this simply safe tech support staff. Simply Safe was named the best home security system 2022 by U.S. News and World Report for a 3rd year in a row. In emergency 24/7 personal monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real. So you can get the priority police response. The home Simply Safe is whole home security, advanced with sensors in every room, window, door, HD security cameras, as I mentioned, inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion and alert you when only threats are real, and even hazard sensors detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Professional monitoring costs less than $1 a day, less than half the price of ADT's traditional home professionally installed system. With the top rated SimpliSafe app, stay in complete control of your system. Don't miss on your chance to save big on the only home security system I recommend. Get 50% off any new SimpliSafe system at simplysafe.com/locked on Canucks today. This is their biggest discount of the year, so don't wait. That's simplysafe.com/locked on NHL. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Okay, welcome back. Locked on Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. So I kind of teased it before the break. Last night, Canucks, after that roller coaster win, come back from 4 goals. They beat the Montreal Canadiens 7-6 after they gave up a big lead, came back, got the lead, gave up the lead, tied it, and won it in overtime. Yes, that it was absolutely nuts, absolutely crazy. But it was a moment that I felt at that time. This could be the moment, a la Alex Burrows, when he broke the streak against Carolina. Pick your moment in a Canucks regular season game that turned the season around. And I thought, okay, this could be the moment where the Canucks finally, it just something like a galvanizing moment, like a moment where, they picked themselves up, rised up from the ashes, won a game at home in overtime. Elias Pettersson scores the goal, and they could go on a run. Now, while that could be true, I mean, their schedule is fairly light coming up. I mean, they play the San Jose Sharks, then the Wild. The Wild are going to be tough. Then they play the Flames, the Jet. Oh, sorry. They have a winnable game next, and they kind of play, the Wild, the Flames, the Jets, the struggling but desperate Blues, the Kraken. Then they're at the Oilers, and then they play San Jose again on December 27th, a game that I might be at. So, Canucks fans, I will keep you up to date. There is a chance I finally will make my return to Rogers Arena, which I'm super excited for. But I woke up this morning thinking, no, that's not the case, because the problems of this organization and this franchise are so rooted deep in that I don't think one moment like this is going to change it. I'll tell you why. Those Canucks teams that, from previous past, that had these galvanizing moments, that broke streaks. Like, let's look back at that, that it was 2009, 2018 or whatever. They, 10-game losing streak, Burrows breaks the streak. But here's the thing. We never heard about a whole lot of locker room drama, players not getting along, all of that stuff, right? These guys genuinely cared for each other, played for one another, and they were a team, and they had pride. This team right now, you hear about infighting, guys not getting along. Hell, there was a report out today that Brock Besser, not only he doesn't get along with JT Miller, he felt that since JT Miller signed a long-term deal, how does he fit into the long-term plans, even though he got a deal himself? This franchise right now is there's the toxicity around it, the culture around it is just so poor that they feel now, again, that's also the media playing a part into it. People always ask me, well, what's Vancouver like as a sports market? Well, first of all, Vancouver's not a sports market. Vancouver's a Canucks market. It's not even a hockey market. There's a difference between the Vancouver, the sports town, and Vancouver, just the Canucks town. The Canucks are the only show in town. Respectfully to the Whitecaps, the Canadiens, the Lions, none of them matter. There's one show in town, and that is the Vancouver Canucks. All the media eyes are on them. All the fans' eyes are on them. That is the only thing that matters. And I think that plays a part into why there's so much toxicity in the market, because fans are very passionate. Hell, case in point, myself. You get mad, you get upset, you go on this emotional roller coaster ride from September till April, whenever the season ends. Loving them one week, hating them another week, even by day. Right now, it goes by day. They win 2 games, everything's okay. They lose 2, everything's falling. The emotional ride of it is so taxing on the fan base and the media, and I imagine it's even more on the players, because They hear everything that's being said about them. They have to deal with the media every day. It's something that, as a franchise in a city, obviously weighs on them. And when I coming back to the main point about why this team is not good, it's not a moment for them because there's so much pressure and just the energy is always so negative, right? And the players, to their own fault, the players too don't help themselves out. The way they play does not give fans a reason to be positive, right? When I look at this team play, when I look at some of the mistakes that guys like JT Miller make, and the defense, how it's a makeshift, and there's always mistakes up front, and there's the whole Boudreau and the front office dynamic. There's no reason for you to believe in this organization right now. And as I thought about it this morning, and I'm like, you know what? It's not going to happen. It's a one-off. I don't think we're ever going to see a game like that again. And maybe in a long time. And also, I just don't think this is going to spur the moment for the Canucks because there's so many more deep-rooted issues in this organization that one night and one galvanizing moment probably cannot gloss over it. Although I wanted to think that, it's not the case. And I personally believe that they're going to have to hold on for dear life until Thatcher Demko comes back. And even then, even if he does come back, there's the defense is an issue. What it's going to go on with Besser. There's always this chatter and noise around the organization that I don't know if it's ever going to be clear and conscientious. And I think until something happens, there has to be something off the ice where, Jim Rutherford comes out and says, this is my team I'm going with it. Patrick Allvin says it, or Bruce Boudreau is my guy for the rest of the year, or just some reaffirmation that this season and the push is going to go on. Because half the fan base, a lot of the fan base, some will rebuild, some of them saying that they want to push forward. Same thing in the organization. There is no organizational goal or structure. You're hearing that Francesco Aquilini wants to push for the playoffs, where Jim Rutherford can't do the stuff that he wants to do because ownership wants playoff dates and playoff revenue. So after all of that last night, after all of that, we're still kind of back in the same spot. We're still in the same spot. There is no real plan. There is no real structure. There is no real common goal. It's still discombobulated, and it's still has a chance to be really messed up. So that is all that for the Canucks. I want to talk about their captain now, Bo Horvat, who scored again 20 goals in 26 games. I want to tell you how that racks up to other greats in Canucks history and just how the price of Bo Horvat is going up and up. I want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. Now your second listen, Locked On listen to game, NHL. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app and YouTube or wherever you get your podcast services. All right, guys. We're back. Final segment. Bo Horvat scored 20 goals, his 20th goal of the season in that impeccable comeback. He's currently on pace for 63 goals. How about that, Austin Matthews? And I think the price of Bo Horvat is going up and up and up for a contract. He's obviously going to hit 30 goals, potentially 40. And that is something that he's betting on himself, and sure as hell he's winning right now because he's going to get a whole lot of money from somebody. There's reports, Jeff Merrick was saying that, Colorado could take a run at Bo Horvat. His name is being being thrown around to Pittsburgh. Could he be traded? As I've said before, and I'll continue to say every day, I don't want Bo Horvat to get traded. I want him to be a Vancouver Canuck, but alas, we don't know. It looks like he's not going to be a Vancouver Canuck. But I want to just explain and stack up where Bo Horvat's 20 goals in 26 games stack up with other Canucks great. Well, the fastest is Pavel Bure. He scored 20 goals in 19 games back in 92, 93. That's, of course, his sophomore year. He, was after he scored 34 goals in his rookie year. He finished last season with 60 goals, the first of two times he hit that mark. So if Horvat could stay on this pace, he could potentially be The other Canuck, joining Pavel Bure to score 60 goals. It'd be a huge, lofty expectation. I don't think it's going to happen, but hell, if Bo Horvat does it, my oh my, that will be amazing. Next is in the 80s, Tony Tanti. Now, a lot of you might not know who he is. Tony Tanti was one of the premier goal scorers for the Vancouver Canucks during one of their darkest periods. He scored 20 goals in 21 games. Again, that was his sophomore season. He finished, he's 250 goals in Canucks history. Then, of course, there's Alex McGillney, one of the most forgotten Canucks. He spent 5 years in Vancouver. He scored 20 goals in 23 games back in 95-96. That year, he had 55. Now, if Horvat could get 50, that would be amazing. Then, of course, there's Bo Horvat at 20 and 26. 31 is his career high. If he can get to 35, 40, that will be an amazing season. He'll clearly get a lot of money. Then there's Darcy Rowe at 20 to 27. Marcus Naslund at 20 and 30. Same with Greg Adams. Tony Tanti at 20 and 31. And Peter Nedved had 20 and 32. So after all of this, what am I trying to say? Bo Horvat bet on himself. The price of him is going up. The trade value of him is going up. So either way, the Canucks are going to spend some money or they're going to get something big in return. I hope they keep him, but you never know. Anyway, that is all the time we have for today on Locked On Canucks. I want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. For your second listen, Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reaction, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast services. Guys, tomorrow we will preview the Canucks at the Sharks, another 7:30 p.m. start. Take care. Stay safe. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.